there, welcome to the program. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, ourhealthyhomes.com, 651-775-9194. That's the big number to call. That's the one everybody's dialing. That's the one that's right on your phone, 651-775-9194. Give Sheila a ring-a-ling-a-ling. She'd be happy to give you some advice, get you going on your health and wellness journey. What do you got coming up anyhow? Lots of stuff. Birthday's coming up. Big birthday day. I know that. I've been hearing about that now for a year.
38 days.
Yep. She starts planning her next year's birthday the Monday following her birthday.
Yes, and of course it's big. It's a big one. Well, they're all big, but this is a big one. And so it's all day. You get to enjoy my birthday with me all day. Yep. Can you stand it? So pre-pickleball party in the morning at Chips and Eagan. We had them on the show. And then the big event, main event at the house later in the day. So go to ourhealthyhomes.com, check out all the events we are having there. But today, I want to talk about a couple of things. And have you ever wondered why Americans live almost 5 years less than Germany and Taiwan?
I got to say, I bet most people have not wondered that.
Yeah.
Because they are unaware.
They are unaware. And we need, that's what our show is for,
I think
right?
they assume that it's the other way around.
Yes, I agree.
I think the assumption is that, well, it's America. We must live longer. We're stronger, better, faster than everybody.
Right. And it's like far from the truth, right?
Used to be true.
Yes. What?
Used to be true.
Yes, used to be true. So we struggle here with more chronic diseases than those people, right? And unfortunately,
those people, she says with disdain.
Well, no, because we just said Germany, and I didn't think I needed to say it again. And so, unfortunately, we wait until we're later in life to realize that we need to start taking care of our health because something comes up, right? It's just like when you redecorate a room, right? It's never just one thing you have to change, right? It's you start taking the cabinets.
Gotta buy all new furniture.
Right? You start taking cabinets back, whatever, new trim, like the thing. It's always three things, right?
Okay.
So we need to obviously make people aware, and that's what our passion is here, is to make you aware of the health concerns and to help you, right? I always like to say I like to help people so they don't get as sick as I got because, you don't need to. And so there's plenty of information out there that if you need to see that information, read that information, watch that movie, like whatever it is, just reach out because I can give you those tools to be able to satisfy what it takes for you to really grasp the idea of what's happening.
Send you the
to
link.
us.
Some people don't care. They just say, "Tell me what to do."
Some people don't.
That's
care.
most people. They just tell me what to do because I feel like crap. So tell me what to do to feel better. Other people, myself included, I want to know the science behind it because I want to know if it's voodoo or if it's real. Yeah. So I question everything.
Do you like all the info, or you just want to be told what to do?
Sheila's talking to Dr. Mel Krug, by the way, who's sitting here nodding her head. So
well, she's speaking.
Dr. Mel's,
language.
I know. Dr. Mel's in there. All right. So what you were just saying that she just wants to be told what to do. That's what she said.
I think for me, I'm a good combo of both. As a doctor, I went through and learned all the science, but for me, I had my own health journey where I just got into it. I didn't really know why, but it worked and I got better. So I'm definitely a person where I'll just jump in. The science and analytics will come later. I'm married to an engineer, so he's like you, where he needs to know why. Give him the algorithm,
right?
Basically, the medical textbook.
Boring, right? Right.
I agree.
Yep.
I don't want to read the textbook, but Cliff Notes. Cliff Notes are good, just so I know that I'm not getting sucked, because I've been sucked down the rabbit hole so many times that and then you find out, well, this is baloney. So I want to know if there's some science behind it.
True.
So I'm here to help you and to walk you through it and get you going. And like I tell everybody, when we get you to the point where we've done the things that you need to do, if there's still some underlying issue, problems, whatever, that's what we do. We refer you out. It is the season of sun, which is great, right? But are you putting cancer on your skin? Like let's just throw it out there, because if you're not,
Explain that. Are you putting cancer on your skin? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about sunscreen. I'm
Okay.
talking about toxic sunscreen.
Okay.
You know, you go to the Walgreens, you go to the corner store, you go to the Target, whatever.
You get the stuff that's
right?
99 cents a bottle.
Right. And
Right.
and you're basically putting and giving yourself cancer. I mean, skin cancer is insane, right? And so there are products out there that you can use. And of course, you know, I have my favorite, which is, you know, the Young Living's sunscreen. But there's so many chemicals and toxins in the sunscreen. And I always say, it's unfortunate that I have to get to the parents to get to the kids, because the kids they're just easy. They're just
Right.
open to it and just give me whatever you got.
Tell me what to smear on.
Right, exactly.
Do I have to put it on? Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. Yes, right. But you have to get through the parents first, right? And so that can take that's a challenge in itself, right? And so
Because you know why? They grew up listening and watching the ads on TV for sunscreen.
yeah,
And have been told for 40 years that this is the good stuff because it makes you tan evenly and blah, blah, blah. And then when they're 65 years old, they're going to the doctor and getting a cancer cut out of their cheeks.
I'm going to back that number to about 35. Okay. How old is our son?
Yeah, he's 45.
Okay, he had something.
Yep.
Yeah, some skin cancer. So I mean, it's just happening sooner and sooner, just like, you know, a lot of other things, because of the toxicity load that we are putting in on our bodies, what we're exposed to. And it's really unfortunate that people don't believe it. They think, how could something so everyday, sunscreen, makeup, shampoo, deodorant, cleaners, like how can all of it's been around forever, like how can it really truly be affecting me?
Food and Drug Administration says it's good to go.
Right.
Mhm.
It is affecting you, and it's affecting your kids, and you know, my heart always is in the kids, but I mean, we're killing ourselves slowly, and we're losing the battle. The U.S. is losing the battle, just like what I pointed out with all types of other countries that are doing a better job than us. And it's sad, because we right, we're U.S. Go U.S. Right,
Yeah, go.
right. We should be better than we are. Yes.
Live to be 120 years old. That's what the Bible says.
That's right. So if you go to ourhealthyhomes.com, I've got a bunch of events coming up, and just push the contact me button and just like type in there sunscreen sample, whatever it is you want. Try it. Right? What do you have to lose?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now before we get into Dr. Mel, I got
Yep.
I got to just tell a little funny story.
Uh-oh.
So this week, Sheila, she's on this warpath of pickleball right now. She's obsessed with that.
Are
if
you
you know
playing?
Sheila, if you know
I've
Sheila,
only played a couple times.
Yeah.
Have to confess.
Are you not addicted yet?
No.
okay, thank you. So Sheila gets on something and she's like all in, right? That's her personality. She's all in. So she's not, her latest thing now is pickleball. So she's got the pickleball paddles. She's got had to get special pickleball shoes, you know, like they're any other tennis shoe, but they're pickleball shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So the other night she says, you know, it was a nice night. So she said, let's go hit some balls. And I'm thinking, super duper. I haven't swung a golf club since I had my shoulders redone, right? So I'm all up.
I knew it would get him.
I got to get the golf clubs out. So I said, yeah, okay. And so then she said, no, pickleball. And I said, pickleball? Who plays pickleball? This is for old people. Pickleball. Oh, come on. Yeah, let's go. It'll be fun. I want to practice my serve or whatever she was working on. So I said, okay. We'll go play pickleball. I used to play a lot of racquetball when I was in college. Play racquetball every day. So I said, I'm going to beat you like a rented mule. I'm just going to go out there and just beat you. So we went out there, hitting the ball back.
I'm shaking
and forth,
my head no, by the way.
diagonally. And she kept changing the rules on me. That game has more goofy rules.
Oh, it has goofy rules.
And then even the scorekeeping, it's kind of like tennis. Love 30
Right,
or love.
right.
But it's kind of a goofy. But she kept on changing the rules on me. I wanted to play full court. She said, "You're out of bounds." What do you mean I'm out of bounds? I hit it where you weren't. That's what I'm supposed to do. Is hit the ball where you're not, right, to score a goal. So she beat me the first game because she had, until she couldn't make up any more rules.
I
Then
had to
once
let
I
him win because
finally-
he wouldn't play again with me.
Once I learned how to play, of course, I beat her like a rented
Now,
mule.
when we come back, I want to talk about pickleball injuries. So
All
make
right.
sure we get on that topic with
All right.
Dr.
This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. Got to go pay some bills. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. 651-775-9194. 651-775-9194. Give us a ring-a-ling-a-ling. Sheila will be happy to have a little chat with you, get you going on your journey. Right now we got Dr.
Yes.
Milne in the studio, Doctor of Philosophy.
Kind of.
Kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your background. Tell me about your practice.
Sure. So I did not grow up with chiropractic care. I
Okay.
should preface
Oh.
that. But I've
Wow.
been in practice now for over 7 years.
What do you mean you didn't grow up with chiropractic care?
You know,
What's
when,
that mean?
when things happen, my mom was my mom was a single parent growing up, and it was like, rub some dirt in it, you're
Yeah,
fine. You know,
yeah.
you shouldn't really take me to the doctor. I'm
Yep.
very grateful for that now, but
Yeah.
I didn't even know what chiropractic was until I experienced a rugby injury. And that changed the course of my life. You know, I went from feeling like I was 20 years old to 80 in a matter of moments.
Wow.
And,
Where was that? When was that?
that was when I was playing for the All Midwest team in, probably 2011, 2012.
The what team?
All Midwest. So
All
the best players in the
Midwest.
Midwest going to be.
So how did you
All-American.
get into rugby? I'm going to go down the rugby rabbit hole.
Let's go down the rabbit hole. I love
So
it.
how
The
did you get
rugby hole.
involved in rugby?
When I went to undergrad, I was too short to be a goalie.
Okay.
I had played goalie for
Really?
10 years.
Goalie for what?
Soccer.
Okay.
And I would have been 4-string goalie, and I said, forget that.
Yeah.
I want to play. And
Yeah.
I knew rugby was full contact,
Mm-hmm.
meaning full tackle, no
yeah.
pads, and the
Wow.
rules were the same as men.
That's a rough game.
That
It
is a rough
very-
game.
It is,
That
that's
is
how
a
my
rough-
husband and I met. So yeah, it's
Wow.
a crazy time.
Yeah.
So I showed up at the first practice, didn't even know what the ball looked like, and I fell in love. And then I went
It's
from
like a fat football, isn't
yes,
it? Yeah.
yes, and actually football came from rugby.
Mhm.
Rugby came from soccer. So that's
Okay.
the evolution of the
Okay.
sport. But I played for a long time, and I started getting better and better and better, and I suffered from an injury. And
What was
I-
the injury?
AC sprain, left side, got tackled severely from my friend Megan. I always give her a shout out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very grateful for that surgery for that injury. I didn't have surgery. I'm very grateful because it brought me to chiropractic. I had a lot of teammates, and the PT said, hey, I've done all I can. You should go see a chiropractor. I was like, what are they going to do?
Right.
I was thinking it's just back and neck pain, but as soon as I got into receiving more care, not only did my shoulder heal, but I started healing things I didn't know was possible.
That's
I-
it right there.
Right.
It's a key.
It
Start
is.
healing the things that you don't know that
Yep.
you have.
Yep.
It's a big deal.
And it changed my life. Honestly, I started losing weight. I used to be 60 pounds heavier.
Wow.
I had severe back pain, severe menstrual cycle dysfunction. I had my own mental, emotional stuff with parents getting divorced and things like that. And
Yep.
it changed my life because I realized it's more than just back and neck pain. It's your whole life. Your nervous system and your spine control everything in your life.
We love that vagus nerve.
Yeah, the vagus nerve. Sheila knows. So that sent me on a path to go into chiropractic school, and I knew very early on I was going to open my own practice. So then I opened Inspire Life Chiropractic Center in the spring of 2017, and it's been rocking since.
Where's your clinic?
It's off of Dodd and 62
Okay.
in Mendota Heights.
So do you then? You're an athlete.
Yes.
So do you tend? And your husband was an athlete.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yep.
then, do you tend to?
Can you imagine at their house the
Yeah.
wrestling and the
It does happen, I will say it. I usually win.
Well, I could go down a rabbit hole there too. But I'm not
How
going to.
much time do we got?
yeah, right.
So, do you your practice tend to revolve more around athletes then, or do you get a lot of kids with sports injuries and such, or how?
Surprisingly not, because my specialty turned into more pediatrics and women. But a lot
Really?
of the people we see are athletes on the, they love pickleball.
Yeah, right.
But a lot of it turned into more chronic health issues.
Okay. Do you find that dealing with women, that their injuries are more
Careful.
emotionally based and maybe not as physical as they are imagined?
I think there is always a psychosomatic component.
Okay.
And by that I mean mind-body
Okay.
component, because you can't separate the two.
I'm just relating myself.
Yeah,
Yes,
right,
I see
exactly.
what
My
you're doing there. I see what you're doing there.
Who is, yeah.
Yeah, it's not fake though. It is real. I mean,
Yeah.
we're human beings. We have emotions that stack and store in our body and can
Okay.
impact. Then, if you go to the pickleball court, but you just had a fight with your spouse, how do you think you're going to show up on the pickleball court? You're probably going to have a different posture. You're going to feel a little tense, and
More
so
aggressive, maybe?
that Yeah, and maybe it could channel it.
And that ball is going to go out every single time.
Well, and that's why I think I was so attracted to rugby, because I had all this pent-up anger and frustration for my childhood, and I got really good because I knew how to channel the anger. So I think there's always a component when emotions and physicality can come into the mix.
What about then along those lines and about cellular memory and things like that people carry through that when you think about it, because all we're made up of energy,
Yes.
right? So I mean, when it gets right down to it, if you put it under electron microscope, there's nothing connecting anything. We're just energy.
Yep.
And so different energy in your daily activities, your daily interactions, and all that stuff, obviously is going to have an impact on you. So when you take that then from that metaphysical point of view and bring that to the physical plane, how does that translate into your practice and how you are you a typical I call him, crack and jack,
Yeah.
a chiropractor, crack them up and send them out the door, or is it seems like the more modern, the newer
Yes.
have moved away from that
Yeah.
a little bit and are doing a different kind of practice. Can you describe
Yeah.
kind of your practice?
Yeah,
I guess
I'm
I
glad
don't know if there's a name for that.
Yeah, so what I do is called network spinal
Okay.
chiropractic, and it's exactly what you're speaking to, where, yes, energy is not a woo-woo thing. I mean, if you look at it from a cellular level, there's ATP. If everyone remembers from chemistry, there's cellular things happening that at an atomic level you can't see. And so we have to ask, how does that energy get expressed? Well, it expresses itself through the nervous system in the spine. And so the simplest way that I describe it is, I'm not here to necessarily quick fix you, send you off, but rather, how do I help your body start to tap into that own healing potential through a very gentle approach? It's much more brain-based, so helping your brain and body start to reconnect rather than just moving the bone. And there's nothing wrong with the crack 'em, pop 'em, see you later approach, but what we found is, why focus on just the skeletal structure when we have so much more research about the brain, the nervous system, the vagus nerve. And so that's where I like to play, is in that realm, which is expressed through your muscles, through your bones. And it's not to say I won't do that type of adjustment, but what we find is less is more when you actually know how to work with the body rather than forcing it. Because I'm sure people have experienced traditional chiropractic where it's the same adjustment every single time.
Yeah, right.
And sure, you get a relief, but you have to ask the question, are you progressing in a way
Right.
that makes sense for your life, or are we just plateaued?
Right.
So network spinal is definitely more progressive based rather than just maintaining. And there's nothing wrong, again, with maintaining, but it's really asking the question, what do you want out of your life, right?
So we just have a friend of ours whose kid just got his PhD in physical therapy. So it seems to me that we have chiropractics, you got physical therapy, and it seems to be all kind of just merging into one science or one practice, if you will.
Yeah.
And how do you know when you're drifting into the medical doctor field, and how do you govern that for
that's
yourself?
a great question. So I know you guys were speaking to this earlier, but you've got two paradigms. And I know you jokingly said a doctor of philosophy, but there's a philosophy of chiropractic, which is the philosophy of life. And so you've got two models. One is pathogenesis, right? Or pathogenic model, which is, what's the cause of disease? If you only study the cause of disease, then where does health come in? And this can depend on, it doesn't matter if you're a medical practitioner, a chiropractor, or a PT. If you're only looking to focus on disease, what do you think you're going to create? Versus over here, you can work with practitioners who say, what's the cause of health? How do we amplify health and vitality beyond just disease? So I like to tell people, I say, look, any practitioner you work with, you really want to ask, what's their level of consciousness? What type of paradigm are they holding and working with you? Do they see you as just a bunch of parts in a machine where you're broken? Or do they see you as a vitalistic living entity that can heal itself, which is more the salutogenic model? I mean, if I cut your hand, what would happen?
It'd bleed.
It would bleed, and then what would happen?
Then it would heal up.
And who's doing the healing?
My body.
Exactly.
Right.
So why can't we translate that to all these other chronic health issues that we're dealing with as Americans? Does it only on our skin, or can we help heal, endometriosis, diabetes? The body can heal. You just have to know how to work with it. But if you only focus on disease, we trap people in that model. So that would be advice that I would give for people to feel governed is look at what's the model that the practitioner is operating within.
And
So-
is it just prescriptions, like we're going down the route
Band-Aid
of,
approach.
right? The Band-Aid approach, not getting to the root problem.
Exactly. And, you know, I always say if you want to just cover up symptoms, when practice members come into my office, I say, look, you have all these symptoms happening. I could easily give you a pill and mask each and every one. There's a time and place for that.
Yeah.
However, what do you really want to do here? You want to get to the cause? Okay, let's get to work.
And then I want to hear about how that begins.
Yep.
And
It's so much work for people,
what
though,
that
I
discovery
think.
process is all about, because it is a slow, painfully slow process sometimes.
Can be.
Because
Yeah.
people don't even really know, why their whatever it is hurts. They just know, they come in, all they know is it hurts, and can you make it stop hurting right now?
Right.
Right.
Because I got to go to work.
Yep.
Yep.
Right.
Well, I got to go to work right now. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. Listen to these messages, and we'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, 651-775-9194, 651-775-9194. We're talking with Dr. Mel here, 651-756-1218. Did I give you the right number out?
You got it.
All right. And then what's your website here? Inspired?
InspireLifeChiroCenter.com.
That's a long one.
I know. My
Write the
husband-
number down. It's easier.
Yeah.
651-756-1218.
You should see my email.
Oh, geez.
All right. So when we're out the break, we kind of were chit-chatting a little bit. So I got a couple of things I want to hit on. Number one, I want to know about your onboarding process and kind of the diagnosis side of things when someone first comes up. That's number one. Number
What
two,
modalities you have in
what
the
modal-
office.
yeah, I
we
love that.
love that word.
Okay, so then, and number two is we kind of chatted a little bit about you played rugby, and when you said that, immediately I'm thinking concussion, just because there's no padding. Do you wear a helmet even? in
No,
rugby?
you can wear a scrum cap.
Okay.
What
but
is that?
Whatever.
It's basically like a piece of felt on your head.
Oh, super.
Oh.
And then I'm thinking when I was a kid, we used to play in high school. We would play full contact, tackle football, no pads, no nothing, and I got rattled. I got knocked out a few times doing that deal because it's like it was violent, fun, but you get
But our bodies
beat
are
up
weaker in this. Yes.
anyhow. So and then finally, along those lines, last weekend, my grandson's playing hockey. He gets knocked out on the ice. I mean, he's down. He's down. The paramedic, they call. Everyone comes up, surrounds him. He's like, "I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine." It turned out he never did lose consciousness, but he was down on the ice, and he has had concussions from hockey in the past. So you kind of worry about that a little bit. So we're going to go there just to kind of tee it up. But I want to get back to the onboarding side because we're talking about the philosophy, and so that's got to start for you the minute somebody walks through the front door. And so what's that initial conversation kind of look like?
Yeah. I even get them on the phone
Okay.
first. Because our approach, as you all are hearing, is very different. I want to make sure it's a good fit. I'm definitely not the chiropractor where it's like, hey, I've had 20 years of pain and I want you to fix me in one moment.
Yeah.
That's not reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And so I always start with an initial consult call where I just ask a bunch of questions. I'm a big fan of the Socratic method. I think that if you can ask people questions of, when did this start? How do you think you got here? What other factors do you think are playing a role in this? Is there something physical, mental, emotional? What did you deal with growing up, right? As you were saying, these things can start at birth. So I want to know, what was your birth process like? What major big T's, big traumas or little traumas has your body gone through that could be accumulating to produce these symptoms? Symptoms, yes, may show up overnight, but the process has been going on for years. So
are you talking about physical trauma that happened during the course of your life or life events in general?
All of it.
That might have been traumatic.
Mental, emotional,
Okay.
physical, spiritual. For me, the big one was parents getting divorced. My dad was in and out of the house a lot, and I didn't realize until how that impacted me until I started chiropractic care, how I had suppressed so much emotion. So I like to know all of it. I am very holistic because I know, if this person has a tumultuous relationship, let's say with their partner, that absolutely is going to impact their nervous system. They're going to be living in a state of fight or flight, which is a very big term now, right? Fight, flight, freeze. So I am not just like, where's your pain? How long is it going on? I want to know everything about you because all of it plays a role in your vitality, even pain. right? Pain is not just a physical injury. If you're walking around feeling stressed all the time, you better believe that can produce physical symptoms. So my onboarding process is definitely longer than most like traditional chiropractors, but oftentimes people stay with me for longer because they realize, oh, this is more than just physical. This is my life. And that's really what the philosophy of chiropractic is about, is not just back and neck pain, but what is your life expression? Are you able to adapt and enjoy the things you love, including pickleball, kicking your partner's butt at pickleball, and having a healthy relationship and everything in between?
So if you had like health and wellness issues that maybe started, well, let's say like 24 years ago on July 22nd.
Not a particular date or anything.
That'd be our wedding.
Oh, okay. Shall we do a session today?
Dang.
Okay, so then it's a revealing, if you will,
Yes.
kind of a conversation, open-ended questions and all that. Okay, so now you've got a kind of a flavor of what the background is. I can only imagine the stories. I know the stories that we hear as real estate agents. I'm a probate specialist. I deal a lot with death and dying, and a divorce specialist. So I deal with all of that stuff, and I can see it in people. I mean, you can physically see it.
Yes.
On their posture
Yes.
and their tone of voice, tonality, all of that stuff, and then at the closing table, we close on the house, and now people are going off and starting their new life and their new adventure. There's a change.
Yeah, they look different.
That happens there. So I get that. I can see that where people would be coming in, bringing some baggage with them. What I don't quite understand is how you then take that and put that into a treatment plan.
Yeah. So I do have objective analysis in my practice. So I do a series of tests on the nervous system. Some people may be familiar with spinal thermography, electromyography, and heart rate variability.
Okay.
And then, of course, the traditional looking at posture, looking at movement analysis, feeling with our hands. So you said tone.
Mm-hmm.
You hear it in the tone of the voice.
Right.
Well, guess what? That tone also shows up in the musculature, in the spinal alignment. So it's really an overview of their entire life with both the subjective part, what they're speaking to, as well as my objective analysis as a doctor. And then I come in as kind of the detective and put things together. So every single part of your body holds different emotion, holds different experiences. So you said, for example, people feel like there's been a death. Well, we feel or hear death, we feel or hear divorce. What does your body do? Kind of curls forward.
You're right.
Some people
protect the organs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if my posture is shifting like this, that's going to show up in the physiology. So I'm putting together, okay, I'm feeling in your shoulder, maybe there's something here in your low back. So that's what I'm doing, is putting the subjective piece with the, objective analysis along with some of the technology that I use in my office too. We look a lot at breathing, because one of the first things that changes when the nervous system is in a state of stress and fight or flight is we breathe high. We're not breathing low and slow.
I think most people don't know how to breathe.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would agree there.
So that's a modality we teach in the office. We teach workshops. I have online courses, but it's very subtle, but all of it comes together. I will refer out for x-rays too, because if there's scoliosis involved, that's its own version of trauma as well. So
okay, so now you've got the treatment plan, and some of these issues, whether they be physical or whatever, work related, just years of I'll use my own experiences. My shoulders were both shot because, for many reasons, but one of them was, and I can remember it, is I used to own a bunch of garden centers, and so we would get in train cars full of bags of marble. And we would get in a line, and we would throw these 50-pound bags of marble and catch them and stack them, catch them, stack them, catch them. We do that for 160,000 pounds later. A couple of train cars, 80,000 pounds in a car. And, you do that year after year, 15 years of doing that. And all of a sudden, my shoulders are clunking, and they just, were coming apart.
Yep.
But with you, if the injury or the circumstance was created over decades, the treatment plan's got to be long as well.
Thankfully, not decades.
Hopefully not decades.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and that's something as a doctor I'm always curious about, because some people, it takes a really long time to get the results they're looking for.
Yes.
Which there's lifestyle factors.
Yep.
If you're eating like crap,
Yep.
that
Yeah.
may play a role in your results.
Right.
Yep.
However, there's some people where they heal very quickly, and I think that again comes down to their perception. Like, do they want to heal? Do they want to get better, or are they resistant? So I always joke with people, say, look, it's not going to take you 20 years, but it may take time.
Yeah.
Because it took time to get here.
Do you know how much time it's going? When you're done, when the
I
guy
have a
walks out the
sense.
door, you think,
Ooh, Keith, he's
Yeah.
I got this guy. For
he's
a
a negative
year.
Nelly. He's
This
gonna
guy's
take
for
some
a year.
time.
I got to work on him.
I do have a sense.
Yeah.
Usually, the longer you're in your practice, you
Yeah.
get better at your craft.
Yeah. Right.
Some people, it's faster. Some people, it's slower. And that's the thing with holistic healing is we don't always know, but there's a general trend. Versus I could give you an aspirin. It's probably going to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
But with holistic healing, it's multidimensional. So, is your diet changing? Are you sleeping better? Are you leaving a bad relationship?
Do you
Are
track all of that
Yeah.
then with
Oh,
each
yeah.
patient in the
Yep.
file? It's like so
Yep.
you know what's
We're
going
taking very detailed notes, my friend.
Are you doing all the Epsom salt baths, the breathing, the stretching, the like the whole package of it, right?
on. Okay.
Yeah.
So when we come back, I want to talk
Wow.
about a couple of things now. It just popped into my head while
We didn't get to
while we're
concussions yet.
talking. I want to talk about. We might get to concussions. I don't know what more to say about that, but
You can bring back.
I want
It's
to talk about exercise
fine. Okay.
because you're an athlete.
Yep.
And so I want to talk about exercise, the difference between what some people perceive as exercise and what exercise really is. And then we'll probably get into some concussion
Yeah.
talk, and I want to know about your speaking too.
Cool.
This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, 651-775-9194. Sheila's going to tell you about the muffin top meltdown. I want to hear about that. Mainly because we spent so much money on the website, I want to get someone to go to it. 651-775-9194. Keith Reno here. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, 651-775-9194. I've already forgotten what we're going to talk about because it's been, we were at break for 3 minutes, so short-term memory loss. Okay, Sheila, muffin top meltdown. Let's
Muffin
have
top meltdown. Okay. Perfect example. I'm leaving the club today,
Mhm.
and I see a friend that I used to work with,
Mhm.
and I'm thinking, wow, just
Put on a few.
just because we're women over 40 doesn't mean that we have to have this middle around us.
Mhm.
And yes, we have like the body types where I hold more in my legs than I
Yep.
but still it I had to work at this,
Yep.
right? And the visceral fat around the middle is so critical to the heart and cardiovascular and all of that. And so we spend so much time as parents giving to everybody else in the family and not putting, what's the plane when you take down the mask, put it on yourself first, right? So it's time at about 40 when women start to feel it, have the time, have the want to now
Right.
because the kids are older and
Maybe
they're
have the wherewithal.
yeah, right. And so give me one round of the Muffin Top Meltdown program, and I guarantee you
And
that
to decide.
you will, yes, then decide, and you will stick with it, just like we're talking about today, is that it isn't just the magic pill to be done, like that. There is some effort and there is some work, but by gosh, don't you want to feel better? Don't you
Yeah.
want to look better? Somebody said I'm sending out my 60th birthday invite right all over the world, and this one gal, I know her a little bit. She replies back and she says, "Well, I'm excited to come, but there's no way that you're 60, right?" She's like, "I would have guessed 50," and I always like to say, "No surgeries." Right? Because I want to point that out. It has no Botox, no nip and tuck, no aftermarket. Well, obviously I don't have aftermarkets, but that's pretty obvious. But anyway.
I've offered.
So my point of it is that if I had a post and I have a picture and I don't do it to boast. But when you see me at 30, that picture of me at 30 versus now, holy crap. And I thought I looked hot then. But not even close, right? Like it is night and day difference. And I always tell people, if I can do it, you can do it. But let me hold your hand. Let me help you and give me 1 month.
Okay. Dr. Mel. We have, and go to our website, ourhealthyhomes.com. Click on, there's a pink button up at the top, Muffin Top Meltdown. Get you going. All right. So when we went out, I want to talk about exercise, number one. Then I want to hit on concussion quick, and then I want to hear about your speaking. So exercise. What do you consider then exercise?
Coming from your rugby background.
Yeah, and what is like beyond exercise? When someone would say you got to get some exercise, what does that really mean?
Right. Well, the joke that I always tell clients is like, well, do you need to exercise your body or do you need to exercise your mind? But I think I like to use the term movement.
Okay.
Yes.
Because
I do too.
You know, depending on where you're at in your life, for some people, doing rugby sprints up and down the field is not going to make sense. Maybe you've dealt with chronic pain and you're just getting back into a yoga practice and you're not ready to hit the pickleball court. So I like to use the term movement first. Exercise, I think, falls within that because to me, exercise means I'm getting my heart rate up a little higher. Now, I could be biased because I was not an endurance athlete, but more of a power athlete. So I like to start with at least practice members say, hey, are you moving every day?
Yeah.
Are you going for a walk? I think it is important to exercise your cardiovascular system to a level of intensity if you have the adaptability to do so.
And that's different for everybody.
Absolutely. Especially, take 220 minus your age. That's generally your max heart rate, and that's going to change. However, as you were speaking to, I mean, I am the believer of that too, where age is a number.
What's your max heart rate? Say that again.
220 minus your age.
220 minus your age.
But that is an old paradigm.
My maximum heart rate, that's my resting rate.
So, and that's where some of these old paradigms of exercise and movement are just outdated. Exercise really comes down to how much energy do you have to move your body in ways that is dynamic and flexible and not just one plane of motion.
Right.
So it's a very complex answer, but I like to start with, are you moving every day? Because we are beings of physics. A body in motion stays in motion. If all you do is sit on the couch, that is a recipe for
disaster,
other health challenges. I see a lot of people where they're not moving and they have so much pain. They start moving, the pain actually starts to go away because we as bipedal creatures, our ancestors never sat still. And the human genome has not changed in almost 300,000 years. So, we've created these lifestyles of, we're all sitting here, which it is what it is, right? But I like to start with, are you moving your body? Exercise, I think, starts to turn into more training. Are you getting your max heart rate up or close to your max heart rate? At least, again, that's how I like to see it. But some people come into my office and they struggle with just going on walks every day. So I try to meet people where they're at and then encourage them to stretch themselves 10% of whatever their 10% is.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does because and it makes perfect sense.
Right.
And it's just the whole sitting down thing. So you sit at your desk, you work all day long. I get up and I hurt.
Yeah.
My back hurts, my hips hurt when I first stand up.
Yep.
And if I move around a little bit, and it doesn't take much, it's about 3 steps. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, but I watch people walking and I look at him as like, he looks like he's in pain.
Right.
Walking down the sidewalk, kind of leaning forward, hunch. And you mentioned, are you moving dynamically like that? And it's not. It's like it's like Biden. Man, get one foot in front of the other.
You sound like a chiropractor.
Try to make it there without falling down.
Right.
Go to the mall. Listen, if you want to see movement, and that's innate, right? You're not. I don't think you're a chiropractor. Maybe you were in a past life, but we innately know as human beings what is functional. Even if we haven't done it in a while, we know, that person's moving coherently versus, it looks like their whole low back is seized up and who knows why. But we innately know that we're supposed to move because our body informs us, hey, this kind of hurts. It's time to get up and move. But I think so often our mind overrides our bodily signals because we put so much emphasis on intelligence, but we've forgotten about the bodily intelligence.
Right.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, I don't want to get past it here. I want to talk about concussion.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because it's a big deal. It's been, the last 10 years, it's in the news. Everyone's talking about it. What kind of a treatment then for someone who's had sports injuries, been knocked out a few times? Obviously they've had a concussion, they've had to stay off the field. Okay, concussion protocol, whatever that means, basically means don't come to the gym.
Yep.
What do you do? How do you treat it?
So from a chiropractic perspective, what we're looking at is not only brain function, but spinal function. So people forget it's not just a bruise on your brain. There often can also be upper cervical, which is your upper neck misalignment. And so when there's damaged tissue in anywhere in the body, that tissue needs to drain. You guys have experienced like a sprained ankle, right? You got to get that flowing.
Right.
Same with your brain. However, if there's been a concussion, boom, to the side of the head, and that upper cervical alignment is off, the brain can't flush out the damaged tissue. And so it almost pools and doesn't allow the brain to heal. And so in chiropractic, we're looking at how can we open up the upper cervical to drain out that fluid, that damaged tissue, to get new blood flow to the brain, because new blood flow, new oxygen, the brain does take longer to heal than an ankle. But what we're finding is brain tissue can heal. It does take longer. So the main thing that we're looking at is, yes, there are some brain exercises you can do with eye tracking that we'll do. My associate in the office, she's really trained in that. But I'm looking at how well is your alignment in your upper neck so that brain can keep healing, getting new blood flow, cerebral spinal fluid. That's a big thing. If you can't flush out your cerebral spinal fluid, which is basically the fluid that your brain sits in and your whole spinal cord is bathed in, it helps with a lot of detoxification and healing. So if you're not detoxing this damaged tissue from the concussion, whether it was months ago or years ago, how do you think your brain's going to function? And that's where we see down the road kids dealing with brain fog. They can't focus. Their brain's not firing on all cylinders. That leads to down the road depression, anxiety, insomnia. I mean, I have some really powerful cases of people healing from that. But the point is, we've got to get that connection up here to start flowing back and forth from a chiropractic perspective.
So anybody that's had a concussion,
get your spine checked.
Come and see you, check. I mean, like,
if it's not me, someone.
I mean, okay, so we get in a car accident. What's the first thing we do? We go to a chiropractor. Why? Because we now want to get checked out. We want to have it on record, insurance purposes. Like all the things, right? Why wouldn't you take your kid?
Exactly.
Right? Like that day, the very next day, to at least have them checked out.
Because the paradigm is, my kid doesn't have pain. Yeah, not right now, because there's so much adrenaline.
Right.
Most of the time, a car accident or a concussion, there's so much adrenaline. They're like, I'm fine, I can go play.
You can't feel it.
And then all of a sudden, we see these football players struggling with, CE and things like that, taking their lives at age 50 of something that happened in their 20s. Because this stuff, it will build plaques. All this stuff happens decades ago. So get your kids checked. If it's not with me, please just take them in to see what's going on.
Okay, let's talk about speaking. So you mentioned before you do speaking engagements.
Yes,
so tell me about that in a minute left.
In a minute left. I'm all about empowering people.
Okay.
And so I get invited to teach a lot of workshops, speaking on stage at chiropractic conferences. And my biggest thing in life is how can I take my story that I've learned to heal myself, empower myself, and inspire you.
Okay.
So I talk a lot about that, how to get through the emotional baggage, how to clear these mindset things that show up. And so I'm big with chiropractic students, with entrepreneurs, and I love to just empower people, whether it's from podcasts or stage, workshops, you name it.
Dr. Mel, ladies and gentlemen, 651-756-1218. Give her a ring-a-ling-a-ling, and she'll get you back on track. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. We'll see you next week.
But when he calls me sugar, I love that man with all my might. Sugar in the morning, sugar in the afternoon. Sugar after dinner, sugar in every room. He says I'm sweet as I can be. When he calls me that name, it does things to me. I tell him, honey, you can call